Kyle, you're good with words. You know that, man?
I think the gym is dumb.
Did Rachel walk in the room? Of course I've eaten a Baconator.
Man, if you ain't doing CrossFit, you can get CrossFit.
You're right. A long burger's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
That's your sitcom right there as a Mr. Fix-It-All who just can't fix his heart.
We will not be defending Atlantic City.
No accounting for taste. If it's something that somebody loves, let's try and celebrate it instead of shitting on it.
The holidays are approaching, so it's time to start thinking about what you're going to gift your loved ones. And if you're looking for something to gift even the hardest to shop for, look no further with a personalized coffee subscription from Trade Coffee. Treat yourself or the coffee lover in your life with Trade Coffee. Right now, Trade is offering our listeners a total of $30 off of a subscription and access to limited time holiday specials at drinktrade.com/NAFT. That's drinktrade.com/NAFT for $30 off. drinktrade.com/NAFT.
Hey, buddy.
Well, here we are.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is the first not lost episode of this podcast.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, we will.
I want to ask you, Shane, you're a competitor, right?
Yeah.
Have you competed?
I have competed in athletics and for women and many other things.
Well, but you were like, were you football? Because you grew up in Texas, so you like played football.
Yeah, I played football until the 7th grade, and yeah, there's like I played until the 7th grade, and you know when like until you meet kids from other schools, you're like, oh, everybody's about the same at everything. And then you went to 7th. I went to junior high, and I was like, "Well, I'm not going to be a professional football player." That's the very first thing I learned.
Wait a minute. Where do you live? Did you grow up by a power plant? How are you that large?
Well, like it was very much like I was just like I saw this huge guy, and I was like, and somebody was like, "You're going out for the same position as that guy," and I was like, well, maybe he's slow and I can be faster. And then he was also faster than me. And I was like, it's a pretty... Brandon, he hit me in the side of the head with his hand so hard, and I was wearing a helmet. And then I thought basketball might be a try, and then that wasn't it for me either. So...
But you were like... You were a competitor. It was always lost on me. The idea... I remember I'm a small man. I was even a smaller child, if you could believe it. And I remember when I was a freshman in high school, we were doing King of the Circle, and I was in a mixed freshman and sophomore class. It was like
what is King of the Circle?
It was basically the wrestling unit for the school, like the gym class. Be like, it's wrestling, and I was among the kids who were like, "Fuck, beat me!" Like because then it was finally like the yoked up kids, like, "Well, I'm gonna kick some ass." And the thing that would piss them off even more is like when you just lay on the mat yourself, like, you win. You win, boy. You're the strongest boy. Because I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm tiny, and you want to beat my ass. Why am I going to fight back? Yeah. This is the dumbest thing.
And this isn't like fair. Like you're not even like you're a big strong guy, and you're not even fighting another big strong guy. Well, like what is this saying about?
Well, and this I think shaped my idea towards the concept of competition. Is when the coach, just for his own sadistic pleasure, lined up all the freshmen smallest to largest, and then lined up all the sophomores smallest to largest, which that age group of like 13 years old, that's when kids are just getting like sprouts and growth spurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
like some people are like already through with puberty, and you're like, you're going to be growing for the rest of your life. And then some children are wondering if they're ever going to like hear their voices drop.
Yeah. But so there's a few. So imagine the largest sophomore and the smallest freshman. And that's how the gym teacher decided he would do King of the Circle matchups. And King of the Circle was like, there's no wrestling technique. It was just a circle, and you'd like fight the other person out of it. And so I'm all the way on this end of the freshman, and I get some giant Greek motherfucker. I remember his name too. I won't say it. And he was an asshole too.
Stavros Gigantor, or what's it?
May as well have been that. And we're up at the King of the Circle, and I'm just like, what's the point of this? Like, it was just for the gym teachers. Like, I hate my job, I hate my life, and I hate you guys. So do this for me, and maybe I will.
This is the one thing
smile.
I am in charge of. This is the one thing I am in charge of. Yeah, it's very.
And it's
like when you see a bus driver keep going when you know when he sees somebody running for a bus. This is the thing he's going to get out of the day to feel better.
It was, it was science versus a brute strength, and science won that day because basically I took this giant sophomore kid running at me, and all I did was step to the side, and then he stepped out of the circle. And I just hear the whistle blow. I'm like, well, I don't know how I lost, but I'm sure I did. And the coach is like, Kinane, all right, up next. And all that guy did was sign my own death warrant because now every little kid in the class is like, well, if Kinane can take him, I could probably kick his ass. I'm like, no, you're all dumb. I just moved. I didn't beat him. It wasn't strategy. But that was early on.
I figured out your secret move. Your fucking crane kick got canceled in the first fucking day.
But I guess what I'm getting to is that I thought the idea of competition was against other people was kind of silly in high school. Like I never had that desire.
You know, in like a head-to-head fashion?
Yeah, and like, I want to be better at this than that guy. There's an idea of competition with stand-up that we do or other sports where it's like versus yourself. But so, which leads me to addressing our topic today that we're going to talk about here on the No Accounting for Taste podcast, which I ironically matches up with our subject since we're talking about taste.
I didn't even think about it. Yeah.
As we're going to talk about,
we'll just be on the Food Network's podcast website.
Hey, well, I'll take whatever publicity we can. We're a burgeoning cast here, but we're going to talk about competitive eating, the idea of taking one of life's necessities and creating a competition on that.
Yeah,
and
As
is the method of this podcast is like there are things that are easily mocked, but some people out there do celebrate them, and that's the point of this podcast. No accounting for taste. If it's something that somebody loves, let's try and celebrate it instead of shitting on it.
Yeah, it's a very much a let's open the book to a page and not just look at the cover kind of thing.
There you go.
So,
that's poetry.
Yeah.
Did you ever?
I have it every once in a while.
Did you ever eat anything competitively, like as a challenge?
I don't recall anything, but I'm sure there's no way I haven't. You know, like it just seems like something I would have done at some point in my life. It would be like if my buddy like Andy was like, yeah, no, you did do it one time. You were there. Remember, Tiffany was there, and you were like, "I'm going to impress this chick by eating a whole bunch of chili." And I've definitely done. I've definitely done something like it, but nothing comes to memory. I don't put it past myself, is what I'm saying.
I think everybody's had a moment.
What about yourself?
Well, I never in like, I'm going to win, but like definitely in a Moby Dick sense of like, I've ordered an item and looked at it and been like, I'm going to finish this. not for glory, but just for like, what are the four motivators in storytelling? And it's like, I apologize for the gendering of it, but it's like, it's man versus man, man versus self, man versus society. Yeah. And man versus nature. And so it's man versus self has always been the only competition I've ever entered in. It's like, I'm gonna prove to myself that I can do this dumb thing. So that's where I've had like definitely like gotten like, and also my aversion to food waste has been like, oh, look who got a second plate at Thanksgiving. Well, get it in there, buddy. You can't throw out food. It's a sin.
It is. Yeah. But so you don't have like a specific moment either. You didn't like take down a Dagwood in front of your parents and your father hugged you or something.
No, there was no pride involved. I think it was just it was just like one of those you keep going because you can still keep going elements. But I don't remember anything specific, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a whole facet of society that competes.
Actually, I do have a story.
Okay.
I have two secondary stories. Yeah. My father, Simon, the great man he turned out to be. There was I don't know if they were anywhere else besides Texas, but there was a chain of Mexican buffet restaurants called Panchos. And their gimmick was like all the waitresses, they dressed up like senoritas, which was cool. But like when you were out of food, like and you wanted another plate, you didn't go back up to the buffet line, presumably because you were too fucking full. So you would raise a little Mexican flag on your table, and they would come over. And like you would just be like mas enchiladas por favor or whatever. And my dad said he went once and he said he was like the food was terrible, but I just figured it eventually I had to try something good at this place. And then he just ate everything. So it's very much a man versus something. He's like, I just felt I was sick all day. That's what happened to my father. And then my little brother had a chicken wing eating contest on a first date. And that was, I don't think it worked out with her, but.
Oh, okay. She's not still in the picture.
No, but that's a rookie mistake. A lot of guys have done that on a first date, a hot wing challenge.
That's the opposite of proving that you're a provider for a family, is consuming all the edible items in the region. First off, I love it. I love a restaurant named Panchos. That's all you can eat, because I also think of it as the clothing item they give you to like, all right, here we go. 9 burrito suizos. Better suit up. We don't give you forks and knives. I remember my dad at a place that had all you can eat crab legs. And again, like some switch went on where we were there as a family with another family, and the wives, like we had been there for hours. And
you went out like kids and family, just kind of like next door neighborhood kind of thing.
Yeah. It was a couple families going out for crab legs, and it got to a point where my mom I remember like her telling my dad, like, we're going home, and my dad was like, I know where we live, and wouldn't leave. All you could eat crab legs, and it's
hey, king crab, king of the hassle.
I don't know what
Pat's
fable,
not going home yet.
Yeah, I don't know what fable there is about greed, about like a bird stealing too many fish that it can't fly away and then it's in trouble. But there's some sort of moral there about like just because you can doesn't mean you should.
I agree. Yeah,
but yeah, we left my dad at the restaurant so he could eat all you could eat. Like it is all you can eat is just like that. Those words become like a K2 mountain to so many men.
Yeah, all
you can eat. And they just see Everest. They see an untouched Everest before them.
They're like, you and I almost reached the summit, but then I got sick. I got He just calls being full altitude sickness. He calls diarrhea.
I gotta go back to base camp. But that's
what a romantic it's like that's like the first draft of a Tom Waits song about a drunk at a bar. Like maybe it's the final, just like
I always said it was just it's like the old man in the buffet. It was just this Hemingway-esque challenge of like, this is just what men do. Men challenge themselves to become manlier men. But let's talk about the subject, competitive eating.
Yeah,
as a real thing celebrated here in America. We asked the listeners. That was hence the number we asked you to call and leave messages.
Thanks to everybody who called in. Seriously, some of your messages were fucking incredible. Yeah, and some were very dark. Yeah.
Well, the guy who said he competitively eats pussy, which is not saying a lot for yourself, because this is a quantity over quality issue, and that grossed me out. I just
there's when you're in Vegas and you have the choice between going to their fancy steakhouse or paying $25 for all the food and cake you can eat.
I know these. Yes.
Yeah. That guy went hard right to the buffet line.
Just a row of sad women. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't need to go into the visuals of that guy's call.
We don't need to, like, that's a different episode.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting because some people were very like, it's disgusting. It's gluttony. It's I think one person even called it a sin. But
gluttony is one
which
of
I guess
7.
technically it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's gluttony. Think about it. It's gluttony. You're trying to win. Is that like pride or something? I think
pride.
It's probably a few of them.
Yeah.
Last time I saw the 7 deadly sins in a list, they were tattooed on some bouncer's body at a comedy club.
Yeah. That's a good room. You can also, like covet thy neighbor's wife. Somebody's just like scowling over their chicken fingers at another man's.
Well, maybe that's the test of like the people watching it are jealous of that food. Well, that was a sentiment in a lot of the calls, is that it's kind of blasphemous that, the opulence of eating so much when other people have so little, which is a good point to make. It's kind of ridiculous.
But that's also, I agree with that, but I also think it's the easiest point to make about it.
Yeah.
It's because that's all they said. They're like, this is why you're eating so much. That's it. It's disgusting. That's what every one of those anti-competitive eating calls was. And by the way, I know I look like the guy who's really going to root on the competitive eating side of this. But anybody who was, for it or not really shitting on it in these voicemails seem to have a lot more deeper information in my opinion.
No, and how indicative of so many other things in the world where that people are loud about their knee-jerk reaction without studying. I feel the same way. I think it's pretty ridiculous. First off, as someone who's mostly pescatarian, because seafood doesn't have a soul. We all know that. But also, I really hate food waste and the idea that, we live in the richest country in the world and there's people starving. I see the reaction that a lot of people had in the calls. But then, because this is all about trying to celebrate it, even if we don't initially agree, I started thinking well, how many calories do other athletes eat just to do what they have to
play
do?
Basketball? Yeah. Okay.
And this is a one-off. These people aren't eating 60 hot dogs every day.
No, you tune up they don't. Yeah, LeBron James doesn't spend 58 minutes running around every single day. Only when he plays basketball. Yeah. It's the same.
But the hot dog, So I was like, well, these people, I think it was Michael Phelps during the, where did I have it? During the Olympics was consuming something like 12,000 calories a day. And in the competitive hot dog thing, it's about, if you eat, one hot dog has around 300 calories. If you ate 68 hot dogs, it's more than 20,000 calories. But for one event, event, you consume 20,000 calories. Yeah. Now, if you have somebody who is running every day and consuming an exorbitant amount of calories so they can run, they're probably consuming more to run than a competitive eater is consuming just to consume. So why are we celebrating a triathlete versus
Do you think it's an aesthetic thing? Because I think you look at some Adonis like Michael Phelps, and you're like, oh, look at he must be the most disciplined person in the world, and to some degree he is, I'm sure. Yeah. But I think when people think of competitive eaters, they think a slovenly big person who's just stuffing themselves, right?
Which we learned from the calls.
We found, what was his name again? 18th ranked in the world. We had an actual professional athlete call on our first episode.
Megabyte Ronnie called in. Thank you, Megabyte Ronnie, 18th ranked.
Yeah,
and he's just a strong looking dude.
He's a professional wrestler too.
So he's using those calories after the fact anyway.
Yeah, this is a two sport athlete.
He ate a half a gallon of chili in 1 minute and 34 seconds.
God.
I don't know
The
I don't
time,
know what I could eat in 1 minute
the
and
time
34
eating
seconds.
versus time on the toilet after that has to be like a real. That's so much chili. Oh, that's awesome.
A half gallon.
Well, you got more?
Well, no, I'm just still in awe of a half a gallon. I think I could eat a half a gallon of chili just on account of that. I like chili, but
Yeah.
at that, my question is like, does any of it taste good? Like, who made the chili? Were they sitting there like a dash of paprika?
Yeah.
A little more ground pepper, and then somebody just like, blah, just takes a bucket and throws it at their face.
Yeah, I just imagine two dudes who look like us poo bearing into a vat, and just putting it into them, not even using a spoon.
And there's like a chef. They're like, they're not enjoying the nuance. Like, there's a nutmeg back taste if you really savored it. Like, I kind of want to. I want to taste the chili.
If somebody
from
just
a chili
stopped for 1 second, it was just like, if somebody just stopped in the middle of it, what's like, I really like what you did with the 3 beans. And just
is this cinnamon? You have cinnamon in this? This is nice.
Yeah.
So
I wonder.
I'm curious about that, but I think that's where my aversion to competition in general is like, if you see somebody that's an athlete and they sacrifice everything in their life to be this ultra marathon runner or Ironman champ, where like their relationship with their family is strained, who is the Tour de France guy that got struck? Lance Armstrong. Like, you watch documentaries on that guy, and all his relationships were shambles, and it was just all to win and all to do this. And you're destroying your knees and you're destroying your body to pursue what's considered glory by athletic accomplishment. But if someone's just an alcoholic, they're also destroying their body, and that's a disease. But being obsessed with winning to the point that you're grinding your cartilage to nothing.
Yeah, you're turning your bones into powder. Yeah. There's I think a lot of it has to do with aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way we're absorbing. Like, I really do, because like, if you take away just like the person, well, think about like the food they're always eating is never like a healthy thing.
Yeah,
like it's always like carnival food, which I think people are just looking at it like, look at this white trash, like kind of like smorgasbord these people are taking down.
Well, yeah, I don't see the eating contest popping up at like the vegan avocado festival or anything.
Yeah, but that's what like if they had an avocado toast competition, I bet. I think it would take
so many ironic competitors in the avocado toast. Like, oh, sure, I'll join an eating competition, and then one guy would take it seriously. Just covered in green paste. It's the good kind of fat. Oh God, that's probably worse. That many avocados is probably worse for you than some of these chili or hot dog. It's also,
that's probably true.
It's not like they're taking good food out of the cycle.
They can't eat like that all every day, right? Like that seems impossible. Like even the kind of food, like not the portions themselves, but like I would like to know what a regular diet of like their daily diet, their training diet, if you will, would consist of, because it seems like you would need some conditioning to take down. Like, you would have to get used to eating chicken wings and spicy food before you took down 50 of them. Like, I bet it's a delicate balance. I bet their diets are pretty, if they're mindful, are fairly intense.
Well, we had a caller saying that the training is like an athlete, because like the big fat guys, as I learned, fat does not expand. So if you're a big fat guy, it's actually harder for you to do that. Muscle can expand. So that's why these people are in shape. Like, they have to be physically fit to be able to put it in there, and then the muscle can move to accommodate what you're putting in your stomach. Whereas if you're a fat person, that fat does not move out of the way. So you're just stuffing it into a bag.
You're just
that's
getting
not
more of it. Yeah.
Well, eventually it will it'll turn into it, but the fat doesn't move. You think about like a belly, that belly's not expanding to make room. It's just staying there. So you can't eat as many, as from what I'm learning from these calls. So you have to be in shape. So therefore, somebody maybe
like legitimate. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe competitive eating is actually helping some people who, because of their desire to be a gluttonous champion, now exercise more than they would have if they never
And
thought about competing.
Healthy.
Yeah.
I had the psych teacher, and she was like, so sublimation is like if a kid is obsessed with fire, but then they become a firefighter, like if they have an unhealthy, and then they turn it into this, like, kind of invert it into a positive thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what some of these people have done. This is a long way to go to explain 2 seconds.
But no, Charlene, our producer, chimed in the chat. Definition: the diversion of the energy of a sexual or other biological impulse from its immediate goal to one of a more acceptable social, moral, or aesthetic nature or use. So no, you're kind of correct. It's like Dexter, like Dexter only killed bad guys. So, but that's like, you think about it like, oh, I want to be a competitive eater. And then they find out they actually have to be in shape. Their desire to be a good competitive eater might actually add years onto their life. So,
maybe,
as opposed to
we're presenting some pretty strong hypotheticals here, but it's not without possibility.
I mean, you think about somebody that's like, oh, I just like playing tennis recreationally, and you forget to stretch, and you're actually treating your body poorly. Versus somebody's like, oh, I want to take this seriously. You remember to stretch. You know how to work out. You know how to like not tax certain joints. So maybe that is an odd long-term benefit of competitive eaters, that they're in the best shape of their life to be a competitor. I also kept thinking about, like I said, I'm not a vegan. I'm not even a vegetarian, a pescatarian, but I wonder if like you told an animal, like get past the idea of like what their future would be and their purpose. But like, think if you're like, oh, I'm going to just be ground up into a hot dog. Like, oh man, I'm just going to get thrown on the floor at a picnic versus like, oh no, I'm going to the Nathan's. I'm supplying champions. Like maybe there's an honor to those animals of like, they are fueling champions. That one's a stretch. That one I'm trying. I don't even believe it myself. But it's all about spin, baby. Like a piece of Kobe beef is just like, I'm happy to die for this rich person who's going to shit me out on their gold toilet later after this. Well, I do want, like, is there like the most expensive competitive eating contest? Like, I would like a competitive eating contest of foie gras, because that's essentially what they're doing to themselves. Like, you take the foie gras, and then that's what you're doing. Yeah, so.
Just like guzzling, and then like, yeah. Kind of is.
Some weird turducken of society happening.
If you've been getting your coffee from the grocery store and drinking the same coffee every day, you need to try something even better. Try Trade Coffee. Trade makes it easy to get fresh roast delivered to your doorstep from local roasters around the country. I'm on the road every weekend, guys, and I go to a new coffee shop every weekend. And you know what sucks? Stuffing coffee beans into your luggage with your dirty underwear. It's not the kind of waking up fresh feeling you want. So what I do now is I see if that roaster is on Trade, go to their website, order the beans, and they're there when I get home, and I don't have to carry them around the whole goddamn country. That's drinktrade.com. Right now, Trade is offering our listeners a total of $30 off a subscription and access to limited time holiday specials at drinktrade.com/NAFT. That's drinktrade.com/NAFT for $30 off at drinktrade.com. Trade Coffee is the perfect gift for loved ones. They make it easy with their digital gifting options for last-minute shoppers or their coffee and equipment bundles for something under the tree. Treat yourself or the coffee lover in your life with Trade Coffee. That's drinktrade.com/NAFT for $30 off.
I do want to talk about one of the calls that actually kind of surprised me was I can't remember who it was. I took some notes, but one guy, I think it was a guy, said that he felt more patriotic when he watches a competitive eating contest.
I mean,
because brief summary, but Nathan's hot dog eating contest is essentially the Super Bowl of competitive eating, for lack of a better way to put it. And I'm sure it's more fun. But what's his name? the contest gained a lot of popularity in recent years, and Takuro Kobayashi is apparently one of the greatest eaters of all time, and he was just dominating. I believe he's Japanese and crushing. And this is clearly seen as an American of like, this is like us playing basketball in the Olympics. We're supposed to win. And one guy on a voicemail, when Joey Chestnut beat Kobayashi, said, I had never felt more pride to be an American in my life. And he said they brought the yellow mustard belt back to the States where it belongs, which is not, I get it. I kind of get it. I'm kind of with it. Like, I'm not a rah guy, but I do like it when America is an underdog, and then who doesn't love an underdog story? So
do you ever get upset with yourself when you're like, are all of a sudden patriotic over something you're kind of embarrassed about, and you're like, nah. Like 4th of July fireworks. Like, fireworks are awesome, but when it's on 4th of July, you're like, oh God. I mean,
I will say,
hot dog Nathan's. It's like jazz, man. It's uniquely American. It is.
Yeah.
And we sent it off somewhere.
I will, to answer your patriotism question, I will say I am never more patriotic than when the World Cup is happening, because America's never supposed to do well. You know, like, that's the sport we suck at. And I'm always like, get in there and kick those Turks' asses or something like that.
Well, it's also, they've all been playing. All their soccer fields have like shell craters in them, so it's like, of course they're better at the sport than our athletes.
Yeah, than our guys than our athletes who aren't our best athletes who just want to play soccer. But I will say this, and this is so embarrassing. I almost started a USA chant in a bar at a World Cup when I was watching. Like, went into overtime. I was like, "We can do it, you!" And I stopped myself. I was like, "I can't be this fucking guy." Was
anybody watch? I've come around on soccer too. I used to think soccer was incredibly boring, and I used to think it was dumb with all the theatrics. Now I'm like, oh, you have to watch it for the theatrics. Like, pretending like, oh, welcome the professional wrestling element of pretending you got hurt and stuff. Like, that's just as much as like hockey. I didn't know you could just fight because you wanted to. I was always like, when do they break it up? Like, it can't just be allowed. And they're like, yeah, it is. You're hockey, and then you want to fight somebody, and then once the fight's gone on enough, then they'll be like, okay, boys.
Yeah. Like this, if somebody gets clubbed down, and they're like, yeah, you don't get to like step on his neck with your skate when you're done, but but
you
get to throw a few jabs.
Yeah, these are silly elements of this sport that like I should be embracing instead of getting mad. Like, these guys are not only like, soccer is not only physically demanding of how much running back and forth you have to do, but then also like shift into victimhood when it would benefit your team the most.
Mid-flight, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's I don't think some Academy Award winners can turn on a dime like that. Like, oh, you're exhausted, but now you're in pain. Then like, oh, it's like an improv exercise that they got to jump into. Like, I feel like, is there like an improv coach or an acting coach in the locker room at soccer games? Like, all right, okay, Massey. All right, Massey, you're winning. You're almost to the goal. Oh, you twisted your knee. He hurt you. And then you have to like transform themselves. That's a sketch for another time as soccer acting coach. I'm reading this about competitive eating. That there are only so many calories you can consume in 10 minutes, says Peter Serwinski. He's a professional eater known as Furious Pete. He says a lot of stuff goes through undigested. Oh my God. This is from a Canadian Medical Association journal. That just means whole pieces of hot dog are taking up the whole tube. That's a sausage in a sausage is what that is. That's what you did there. You just turned yourself. You just made sausage inside your own body.
You didn't even make it. You just like repackaged it. That's like when they changed the date on the Coke labels. It just like
it doesn't matter.
It's still good.
H train coming through. H train coming through the underground here, guys.
I do want to talk about this. There's actually quite a bit of controversy around some of these competitions, which is interesting. So there's essentially there's Buffalo Bills missing field goals kind of moments that I think people in competitive eating really know a lot about. And one of the ones, a controversy occurred in 2003 when former NFL player William the Refrigerator Perry, your boy, Chicago Bears.
Yep.
Yeah, already had the branding. Why wouldn't he go into competitive eating, right?
Where does food go? In the fridge.
Yes, thank you very much. Competed as a celebrity contestant, though he had won a qualifier by eating 12 hot dogs, which doesn't seem...
Well, we're reading 68 hot dogs for one guy, so 12, it's like, oh, anybody could do 12. No, you can't.
No. What do you think you can get down, dogs?
Well, if I'm doing Chicago stuff, I'm doing Portillo's. Like, these are just a stripped down, like bun and dog.
Yep. Yeah.
If I was doing bun and dog, or as they call them, I think on one website they call them HBDs or HDB. I think it's hot dog and bun. That's how
Yeah.
I was reading on old Megabyte Ronnie talking about how he competed at one point. He got like 16. To take second, he got 16. It doesn't seem a lot, but 16 hot dogs.
Okay, and he's the 18th best in the world.
But think a package of hot dogs is 8.
Oh, God.
Just think of that package. Just eating that. That's 8. Now think about 2 of those.
These little sodium missiles.
Yeah. Think about 2 of those. Those are just bricks of hot dog meat. And then buns.
That's great. He ate 2 of those. Yeah, that's fucking insane. With buns. That's so much.
In whatever the time frame is they have to do it in. 10 minutes or what have you.
But so the fridge won the qualifier, but he ate only for the contest, stopping after just 5 minutes. So it seems like he was like out of shape or something. But that was and they have not had a celebrity compete in a hot dog eating contest since. Which is good. So it's kind of interesting. There's like this whole world. One more.
It would hurt.
In 2007, the result. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think it would like hurt your brain. Like, I think that would be like a manager, like a showbiz manager, be like, don't do the hot dog thing. It doesn't look good. It's not good optics. It's not good optics. All right.
Maybe your manager.
Toby Keith. Toby Keith can do it. But I don't know who. I think other people. But
You can't really. That's a strong branding issue. You can't be like, "Hey Adele, get out there and wolf down some of these cheddar dog."
Yeah, I could see the Country Music Awards having an interlude of competitive eating, but probably not the Greenpeace Award.
So in 2007, the results were delayed. I think at Nathan's is where this is to review whether defending champion Kobayashi had vomited. Also known as the Roman method incident or the reversal of fortune, which is pretty awesome. Just the name in the final seconds of regulation. So I'm assuming vomiting disqualifies you, which makes sense. Such an incident results in disqualification of the competitor under the rules of the IOFCE, which is the governing body. The judges ruled in Kobayashi's favor. A similar incident occurred involving Kobayashi in 2002 in a victory over Eric Badlands Booker, who I did see on the Major League Eating page.
I need to go back. Can we address that there's a governing body?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Can we address that there's like a panel of people who on the off are exchanging emails? Like that's where I'm like how can you be like I can see I want to be the competitive eater, but like no, you know what? I just want to be the assistant to the secretary of competitive eating. Like, oh no, I take minutes at the meetings when they gather to address competitive eating issues. Like using your unless there's some wild money racket game going on where they're like secretly these people are just funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars into their own pockets. Yeah, they're like that's why this organization.
It off.
I mean, it's set in Jersey. Come on. Jersey's always lining their pockets with something. They're not like, oh, we're just going to have this. These assholes want to eat a bunch of hot dogs. We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Well, I do want to say, outside of your crazy mob hot dog theory, I do think there can't be a ton of money in this, right? For people like
Joey Chestnut has a line of condiments.
They love, yeah,
but he's
like the guy.
But why does he have condiments? He doesn't know what anything tastes like. He should have toothpaste or antacid. This fucking guy doesn't know what a hot dog tastes like.
Yeah.
What's his condiment? A jar of water to pour on your bun while you punch it into the back of your head? Like I'm not going to him for flavor.
But he can't go antacid either. Like, I think that's also, it's like, well, maybe this guy wouldn't, like, that's not a strong branding move for him.
I'm sure
it's a strong move. I don't know if it makes sense.
It makes total sense. He's like, this is what I take after I eat 70 hot dogs. It's going to fix you after you eat 2.
It's like the Icy Hot. It's like a bad commercial, like Shaq with Icy Hot, where he just is in a grocery market, like a supermarket, wearing his basketball uniform.
I want to know what Shaq has said no to as far as endorsements.
No, it's so crazy. All of his ads look like regional Midwest Chicago ads.
Yeah, just General Insurance and Icy Hot. Like Shaq,
yeah.
Did they scrape pennies from the couches at General Insurance to be like, we can get Shaq? Like, how?
But we don't have any money for a good graphic design team.
No, this shitty 3D animation of a military general is going to have to do.
Yeah.
Well,
or just like it's also like Radio Shack. It's always shit that's like on its way out. Like, I think Shaq just comes in and swings
Shack
in
and Radio Shack. I can see them thinking that the brand recognition would work there.
I didn't. That's just how dumb I am. I didn't even put that together.
Well, I think in sense of I think just from researching this, I was on the side of the people calling in, like, it's wasteful and it's ridiculous, but then it makes people happy.
Yeah, that is the thing I like. That young woman that called.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she's a young woman, but like when she talked about how she got into eating competitively, and she would just crack open a watermelon and sit down in front of her TV and just start scooping the guts into her mouth. Like, she thought she was in training. And
you can't just call anything training.
Yeah. I'm masturbating. I'm in sex training. I'm just fucking
getting ready for the big day. But what if people did find, like I was saying before, what if people did find out that they actually had to be in good physical fitness to actually do this? So maybe it's helping people. I think about, like, how much food gets wasted at whatever major sporting event, just people in the stands.
Yeah.
Think about how much food and beer is just dumped, thrown around, how much trash is created at a football game, at a stadium. So to nitpick about the idea of gluttony because these people are eating a bunch of hot dogs.
Yeah, you're only associating it with food. That's the reason you're doing, like, a lot of people are doing, like, the excesses. Yeah, like, you're also, I don't know how big Nathan's hot dog eating contest is, but I know it's not near as big as any basketball arena and the amount of trees that got plowed down to put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and whatever restaurant now, because now they're all over. Like, this place had the Ben's Chili Bowl one. Their guy Ronnie competes in. Like, so now, much like your Guy Fieri bit, like, oh, these places are getting publicity, so their business is getting helped out by sponsoring these contests. I do worry about I do worry about restaurants offering their own food challenges. Because that's like,
why?
Well, because that's like, hey, the dipshit from off the street, come in and see if you could take a punch from a prize fighter. Like, that's not. I don't think that's like. How I feel like that's dangerous.
Yeah, all right.
But the same sense that I watch like MMA, like why is that not harmful? To like, let's train to make sure we can forget our kids' names by the time we're in our mid 40s. Like why?
Yeah, it's all like people are celebrating. It's very much like you're pointing one finger and you have three pointing back at you kind of thing. Like you're all doing shit that's so damaging too. Like, and there's like, but you can find a way to like justify the toxicity of it.
Yeah, it's easy to mock competitive eating. And I was at a place that had the double coronary burger kind of thing where it's 3 cheeseburgers and the buns are grilled cheese and these kind of monstrosities, right?
Yeah, I call them works of art. You can call them a monstrosity. I call them works of art.
These are the skyscrapers and the cities of my heart. It was at Laughing Skull. It was at the Vortex in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And
great burger joint.
Yeah, the food's good. It's it's the South. It's large portions. It's bad for you when you go in. Big silly burgers and everything. But there was a guy who was well beyond, like, I don't like saying morbidly obese, but just a massive guy.
Yeah,
a massive dude. Here we go.
Oh, thank you, Charlene.
So these kind of things.
Holy
So
Jesus Christ!
This guy, you have to sign. Like you always think the waiver is a joke.
Like it's on a bed of fucking tater. They're both on tater tots and cheese fries and shit. Yeah,
but you think the waivers that they make you sign for this is a joke, where it's like we're not responsible if you have a heart attack or anything. You're like, haha, yeah, I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah,
this guy had to sign one, and everybody in that restaurant was like, we might watch a dude die tonight. Like, and he was sitting at like. Where do you step in when you see somebody? This whole culture. You see something, say something, or you see somebody that might be in trouble. We're all quiet and we don't want to interrupt because we don't. Oh God, what if that person's getting harassed, but we don't know? What if that person's gonna shoot up drugs, but they're a drug addict and they're gonna die if they shoot up drugs? But then we're watching this dude that was well into the triple digits of weight, eating this thing, and like. How is that not cross into the same? Like, I don't want to watch this guy die while I'm eating dinner. Yeah. Is that just pure libertarian personal responsibility? Like, well, there you go, Big Show. Have however many calories. I don't know where it went. I don't know how many calories it is, but.
Well, the thing I think that's kind of interesting about that is like, everyone's like looking and noticing this guy. He clearly knows how big he is when he walks into a place and everybody's looking at him and he's going in there to get a fucking triple heart stop burger or whatever. Nobody's saying anything is one thing, but everybody like recognizing it.
Yeah.
But the thing that is kind of, and this is a little out of left field, but it's like the thing that is kind of, so no one's understanding why he's doing it. Like it's a little sad, don't you think? Like everybody's like he might die. I don't want to not enjoy my hamburger, and I don't know. This is me going off on a tangent, but
that's we're sorting it out ourselves. But then it goes into that personal freedom of, well, maybe why is the guy doing the triple marathon, whatever, considered this specimen of athletic prowess and exceptionalism, whereas this guy who is going, like, why are we okay with whatever Evel Knievel type guy driving a flaming motorcycle over 19 school buses where he's going to die? You buy tickets to see that.
You're okay with that,
but you buy tickets to see that stuff. You buy tickets to go see MMA is millions of dollars to watch dudes beat the living shit out of each other.
It's all spectacle, like from Nathan's hot dog eating contest all the way down to like blood sports. I guess, I mean, yeah. So, no one can just enjoy a sunset in a regular sandwich anymore. It's got to
no. Just give us our single serving avocado toast and a pleasant day, reasonable bowel movements and sensible breath.
One guy, and I do think this is an interesting. I think I might have brought this up already, but we're just starting to get good at this. One guy said there's an actual technique involved. So again, like moving into athleticism or, skill. He was like, you have to use all of your teeth all of the time. You ever think about how like much you chew on one side of your mouth just naturally out of a head? I thought that was kind of an interesting point to make. Like, you would never think about it. No, I don't think anybody who shits on this actually thinks about how there is a real like technique involved to this.
Oh, he was saying, you mash it into the roof of your mouth to get going. He's like, what is he like? Like it was like cheese fries. Like the cheese actually helped to kind of grease things to go down. I was like, oh, well, put more cheese on stuff. Yeah, your teeth are designed to, the back teeth are for mashing, the front ones are for cutting. You just got to get in there and use them all.
I just thought it was. I know, and somebody else asked about. He wants to know about if they come into long-term health problems from this. Which I think, if you're eating that way and you're like some of the more fit guys that do this, you're probably fine. Because if you're still like burning the calories out, but like,
well,
some of these, I'm sure they're all great competitive eaters, but some of them are not as fit as others. Is the best way to put. Well,
this guy Serwinski says, he's like, there's techniques for training. This guy, Furious Pete. He has an already pliable belly, so he says he's more of a natural. Which, what a weird thing to find out you're a natural.
Some people are just born with it. Some people would just.
He didn't have a choice. He's like natural. He's like Dirk Diggler. He just had to get into it. It was his only way out of the slums.
Which appendage would you rather have?
What a hard thing to be like. This is my way out of the ghetto, is to be a competitive eater, but you're poor, so you can't even buy enough food to train. Like you're not even stealing to feed your family. You're just like, I gotta make it. Like it's not like the whole community got together to buy you a nice baseball glove because they know you got natural talent. It's them giving you their own meals. Like, please, you're gonna make it. You're gonna put this town on the map.
You're gonna put Somerset back on the map, kid.
But he said, you can do water loading. It involves chugging 1 or 2 gallons of water, which could dilute the electrolytes in the body enough to cause death. This stuff is...
Say that again?
That one of the training techniques to stretch your stomach is just chugging a couple gallons of water, which can kill you. I think it's called dry drowning because as it says here, you're diluting the electrolytes.
Wow.
You're diluting your necessary elements because you've flooded your body with so much water. That some contest to win a PlayStation, some radio contest, a woman died because it was like, how much water can you chug to win a PlayStation? That. And she died, yeah.
Yeah, and you're not, like, you couldn't pee, right? And so, like...
I don't even think the peeing part has anything to do with it. I think you overloaded your system with too much of one thing. You knocked it out of whack. And like this guy, Furious Pete, he says he's like the lifestyles are somewhat crazy. He's like, I think it's stupid for anyone to do, but to be frank, though I'm having fun with it, he says he doesn't encourage anyone to do it. Maybe that's a psychological technique to not get any new competitors in there. I don't know, Furious Pete. You sound a little slippery.
Yeah. Wars are won in the war room and not on the battlefield.
They do have listed a couple deaths here.
Okay.
2002, a 14-year-old in Japan, 14, too young. Japan choked to death during a competition against friends at his school. Well, that's because they serve panties in the vending machine. You're not supposed to eat those. In 2004, a 36-year-old man from Canada choked to death after a chicken eating contest in Regina, Saskatchewan. And in late 2012, a Florida man choked and died following a bug eating contest. Which, nothing surprising about that sentence at all.
No, it really is one less vote for Trump.
Would you do it? Would you enter a eating contest?
Maybe in my younger days. I don't think now is
I'm like a car that needs to be driven by one driver. If another driver gets in here, it's going to screw up the system. So I can't overload it with a new kind of thing.
I will say this. I do think it's shown a lot more to it than I thought there was.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I could do it. I would do it. Like, I already eat like shit anyways and work out all the time. I'm not an athlete like these guys. You know, like
these guys, they're baseball players. I play catch every day. Don't get me wrong. I play catch the way I'm eating some nasty shit and a good amount of it. But I'm not trying to go big.
If my dad was there to play catch with me or feed me, maybe I could have gone a little further in this life.
Well, I think in summation, no, no, I wouldn't. Like I said, it's more of the Moby Dick element of where, like, I know I would just torture myself with the knowing it's out there and just having to accomplish it. So, but I think we've, I learned more about this than I knew. I was definitely in the camp of like, it's gluttony, it's ridiculous, but because I had to think about it in a different light, and I think about, not that gluttony here makes gluttony here acceptable, but
no,
like I said, you think about how much food and shit goes to waste at a football game or any other kind of major event.
Or just like you were saying, like the athletes that eat, like professional athletes that eat, are still consuming an insane amount of food to do what they do. Yeah. So I mean, it's all gluttony in some regard.
Yeah, and I think in more. People do like the spectacle just as much as I think people like the people that watch mixed martial arts vastly outnumber the people that want to participate. You know, like people, like you see a baseball diamond at the park, you see a basketball court at the park. Those things, like, I want to participate in that. But you don't just see an octagon next to the swing sets.
It's not a.
So I think maybe there's not like some sort of mass
a newer sport.
Yeah, it's not some mass encouragement that everyone should be a competitive eater. So I think it's more I think it's more harmless than I thought it was. It's silly, but I don't know. I think it's all right.
I think it's much less harmless than people are giving it. Then I think it gets a little bit of a shitty rap for something that really doesn't hurt anybody too much. And from what we can tell,
Red Bull sponsors dumber things
for sure.
And Red Bull's also terrible for you. I think Red Bull's worse for you than 60 hot dogs.
You know what I would love to see is a GoPro on a competitive eater's head, like someone skydive. Oh, what a treat that would be. To
see the physical representation of the food there, and then like the hands just blurry. Just blurry hands.
Yeah. And then every once in a while you see them switch their head to the left looking at the guy next to him. Yeah.
First person competitive eating porn, which I bet it's out there already. If there's anything I've learned, anything you think is the worst, it's already out there, and it's worse than you think.
Don't give away all your gold just yet, Kinane. Maybe there's a few.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. Well, what do you say? You want to put the lid on this first episode of No Accounting for Taste?
Yeah. Once again, firstly, we really want to thank everybody who called in. You shed a little bit of light on it. This is our first episode of No Accounting for Taste. Thanks to Megabyte who called in and gave us some professional synopsis. And if you want to hear more about it, maybe there's a way we can figure something out to do more about it, or have an interview or something.
And so we didn't have the legalese set up to be able to use the actual voicemails. So we're getting that in line, but we're going to be reaching out about more subjects and asking you to call in with your opinions on them, much like this one. And so we appreciate it, everybody.
Yeah. This is our virgin voyage, and thanks for doing it with us. This is No Accounting for Taste with Kinane and Shane.